Another day in the NBA here, but the work begins as it always does here on the Splash Play channel. We're going to dig in and compare my projections to one of the industry leaders out there, our friends over at Stokastic, who are the top projected plays in the NBA, who are the best values for tonight's NBA DFS slate. You're going to find out here. We're also going to go game by game, checking out the ownership, seeing who the leverage plays are. We'll run a sim without my interference on Stokastic, see what the best site in the business thinks is going to be the best lineups tonight. I'll try to do a single lineup sim because it seems like no wacky injuries right now. And by the end of this video, guys, you'll know all the must plays along with my splash plays for December 2nd in the NBA. Let's get into it. Shout out to all you guys waiting in the chat here. We got a bunch of people excited to talk basketball. Lakers such a doo-doo team. I don't think that's fair. What's going on in the Wizards-Sixers game? A lot of guys getting ruled out. It's really rainy here in the Philadelphia area, so maybe that's a part of it. Did my dog kill the puppet? Calling back to the live before lock show on Sunday. No, the puppet is alive and safe, thankfully, but not going to be on this stream today unless something really breaks weird. Unless there's like a crazy super chat. The puppet is an Eric Lindquist exclusive usually on stream. But shout out to all you guys watching live. Appreciate you being here. Hope it was a good night for you yesterday. It was a better night for me in the NFL. I almost had to share first place until Hunter Henry had a touchdown called back, and then the kicker got another field goal in. So that flipped me into just a barely profitable day, but that balanced out a not so great day in the NBA. So we'll see what we have going today. But of course, we do the work as best we always do here. Dust ourselves off for the many slates in the NBA. And so there was an article today John Hollinger had in the Athletic talking about player injuries and all of that. Apparently, a lot of players, the belief is that they're getting hurt a lot because the schedule's been pretty aggressive, with teams playing about 22 games for the most part in about a month and a half here. You know, a lot of the top teams at the very least in terms of who's played the most games. Players, more soft tissue injuries as a result. The league is kind of softly blaming the NBA Cup. So we got to cherish these NBA Cup games, I guess, while we have them, because it seems like there might be some restructuring that coming on based on putting some stuff out there in the media. But we got Tyrese Maxey here, $1,900 salary. It was nice of Ty Lue to let James Harden skip the second half last night to get back to the strip club sooner. I did talk about it in yesterday's video, and I had Harden in some lineups and saw him just absolutely dudding out alongside Kevin Huerter, who killed a bunch of my lineups, not for the same reasons. And I was like, yep, that's James Harden in South Beach. That's how that goes. First person to ring up Vooch and Bagley, both were smash plays. I mean, I think anybody would have gotten there eventually, but yeah, I did get that early once we saw Sarr was out. That's how it goes. But Tyrese Maxey on today's slate here, top projected player, 54 fantasy points. He's the only player I have today projected over 50. Same thing in Stokastic's data as well, that 55 fantasy point projection for him. I'm at just shy of 54. Maxey, the big thing that we have right now is we do have some guys out. You have Oubre out. You have... it's really the main one, right? Well, you have Embiid out, obviously, but he's always been out lately. But you might also have Quentin Grimes and Paul George out. Andre Drummond, who hurt his leg last game as well. He is a Q tag. It could end up being a borderline short-handed Sixers team today, missing Trendon Watford as well. So for Tyrese Maxey right now, seems like a lot of ownership at 75%. I think that for Maxey, that number feels pretty aggressive, and I think it'll level out, as Stokastic updates their data later on today. They've only put in one update so far. So, usually that is a little bit more aggressive in terms of ownership and some of the projections, things like that. But for Tyrese Maxey, at this point, if he were 75% owned, I would be under on it. Right now, I'm getting 35% in my lineups. That's with him being a 5.4x value for me. He looks good, but it does seem like if you were to get him at that chalky of a play with the other Sixers still available, I don't think you'd want to get there quite as much. But assuming, like I would assume, we might get a few more Sixers out today. That means Maxey's going to look even better. Might get even closer to unfadable. But 75% ownership is a pretty steep number when you have some pay-up options that look decent. Jaylen Brown, Denny Avdia, Anthony Edwards, Cat, all these guys in playable ranges to me, and much less ownership. I just think that number is going to come down. So Maxey right now looks like a big fade, but if I had to guess, he'll be closer to like a 50% play. And even if you get a couple more Sixers ruled out, 50, 60, I just don't think he gets 75. Any advice dealing with downswings? Be responsible with your bankroll. I always say it here as best I can. But yeah, that's it. I mean, ultimately, you have to also look at your process. Is your process good? Is your process bad? Are you losing for months on end and you haven't had a moment of breakthrough before? If that's the case, you're probably doing something wrong along the way. But ultimately, knowing bankroll as well as you can, that's how it goes. So we got number 2 here, Jaylen Brown. So for me, I have my projection on Jaylen Brown a little bit higher. What stood out is that lately Jaylen Brown has been gunning. He's now at a 36% usage rate on the year, actually a little bit above that. 26% assist rate, averaging 1.35 fantasy points a minute. The beginning of the year, it was, and I talked about this a lot on stream, it looked like it was like Jaylen Brown playing really well, the other Celtics playing less well, but getting similar usage amounts. Now you have Jaylen Brown so far ahead with him putting up a 36% usage rate, Derek White at 23, Peyton Pritchard at 22, Anthony Simons off the bench at 23. They're all deferring to Jaylen Brown as they should because he's the best scorer on the team. Brown only, league average shooting at about 58% rounded up true shooting, a little bit short, I guess, percentage wise where you'd want him to be flat league average, but close enough. He's gunning. So for Jaylen Brown, much like Tyrese Maxey, I think for Maxey, we all know at this point, like the ball's going to him every single time. It's if you watch a single Sixers game, you will see Maxey basically getting every possession. I think Jaylen Brown, with how the rates are shaping up for him, he's kind of evolving to a similar player where everything the Celtics do flows through him. And it's not a bad total today going against New York as well. He will see theoretically, some tough defense, but for Jaylen Brown, to me, Fields 25%. I'm getting 47. He is, for me, your number 2 projected player on the slate. For Stokastic, it looks like they would have Avdia a little bit ahead. They would have Anthony Edwards a little bit ahead. So slight difference in my projections, which of course is how I'm playing it. Doesn't mean you have to. Feel free to default to Stokastic, which does have them a little bit lower. Number 3, we have Denny Avdia here. We have a $9,500 salary on him. He went nuts last game versus the Thunder. That was a big reason. Portland beat the Thunder earlier in the year, stayed competitive with them last time out. I don't know what Portland has that no other team in the NBA seems to have, but it's a weird thing to note. But Avdia in that game had like 25 peripherals along with, I believe, 30 real life points. Just like crazy numbers overall in that game. And 9,500, he's got the biggest upside, in particular because of Shaedon Sharpe playing less minutes. So you have no Drew Holiday, no Scoot Henderson still. You have Shaedon Sharpe playing off the bench and looking a little bit like a shell of himself so far in his return. So really only have, at this point for Denny Avdia, competing with Jeremy Grant for touches, and that's going to go mostly Avdia's way. And today you have Klingon too, a Q tag. If he's out, you'll have more rebound opportunity for Denny Avdia as well, and maybe a faster paced game as a result too. So for Denny Avdia, a 10% ownership for the field. I'm getting him at 15. I think really this is the biggest thing to me is that even if Maxey holds, even if we get a few more Sixers out, I think just trying to get a little bit more of Brown, Avdia. If you like Anthony Edwards or Towns more, those guys viable enough as well. Just like a $9,900 player, I don't think should be 75% owned, just knowing how ceilings work in NBA. And basically, low owned ceiling is that's worth its weight in gold in NBA DFS. These guys are all much lower owned, including Avdia. So I think just trying to take that shot a little bit more would make sense. We got Shea for the late slate here, our 11 p.m. East Coast time slate. Shea, Thunder getting a little bit more shorthanded today with no Caruso, no Hartenstein, no Lou Dort as well. But for SGA, 11.8 salary for the showdown slate. For a showdown price, that's okay. In terms of if he's on FanDuel today, which I haven't looked at yet, I'll look before I do the deeper dive. Probably not so crazy about playing SGA at this point with Jalen Williams back in. You have a few bodies that are lower usage guys not in, but I think for SGA, he's just not priced for what the situation is for the Thunder right now, where you have a lot of guys producing, and SGA is great, but he's not, the entire offense is not going through him as it had, last year. And even last year, Jalen Williams is good. Just introducing that kind of known quantity here of Jalen Williams to the lineup, I think is not great for SGA. FanDuel dropped it too. Okay, good. So if you're playing Showdown, SGA will be in the mix. Yeah, if you were playing any sort of full slate games, I don't think paying up for SGA is the move today. Anthony Edwards, 20% ownership for the field. I'm getting him at 9. My projection is about 1.4 lower. For Minnesota, you got a good total today with 122.5 implied points, playing the mostly defensively hapless Pelicans. But you run some risk here. They could beat the Pelicans off the court. We did get downgrades for Zion Williamson before the show, so maybe not going with his hip injury, I believe is the issue there. Yves Missy, I believe, also might be out, so could be a thing where Derek Queen looks more appealing. But overall, Minnesota, not crazy about Ant here. Fields getting a lot of ownership. I think I'd rather play, I certainly would rather play Jaylen Brown and Denny Avdia. I have them better projected. But Ant going to be owned by the field a little bit. Don't want to totally poo-poo him. He just looks a little bit less good in my data than he does in Stokastics. Karl-Anthony Towns, New York today. Not a great total going against Boston, but you are getting a matchup with Neemias Queta, who's playing pretty well. He's actually coming up a lot in my lineups today, as we'll see when we sort by value in a minute. But for Cat, definitely has been producing well enough on the year. A 1.3 fantasy points per minute, good usage, good rebound rate. Looks a little bit better when Mitchell Robinson doesn't play, but still at this point, they've been separating the minutes a little bit more lately, so that helps out Cat's expected production somewhat. I think Cat, 6% owned. He's the kind of player that can spike the upside here and beat out a bunch of other of these guys who are going to be higher owned, like Maxey, like Jaylen Brown, even like Anthony Edwards. But Cat, not a great projection for me, even though he's 0.2 higher for me than Stokastic. So not sure I'm going to get there a bunch, but I do think he and De'Aaron Fox coming up next year, two guys that, 6% or less ownership for both. Jalen Brunson as well, same thing. These guys are your low owned options on the slate that if they spike that upside, people will be there much less than they will be for Maxey, Jaylen Brown. And obviously, we all love the matchup for Maxey going against Washington, but a big ceiling that wins you a slate can come from anywhere. And I think it's something that people miss a lot with NBA DFS. You want to play the projections always, but you want to play the projections for, value guys more so. And you want to be able to capture ceiling guys that are low owned a little bit more if you can. And it happens night after night. Like I talk about a lot. We have these slates with Maxey and Donovan Mitchell a lot, where it's like these guys are entirely unknown, projected for 2 to 5% ownership, and they keep landing in first place lineups because they have, a projection that's maybe not quite 5x, but around 45 to 50, and then they end up putting up 55, 60, and that's what wins you a slate. So, just something to keep in mind for NBA DFS that I probably don't do a good enough job calling out on a day-to-day basis. Scotty Barnes, you have no RJ Barrett today. So Barnes and Brandon Ingram going to look a little bit better today. But Barnes at 15.5% ownership. I'm only getting 10. My projection pretty much flat with Stokastic. I think he's a decent play. I'd prefer Avdi a little bit more expensive. But certainly both guys in the mix today as some of your better power forward plays alongside Cat. Jalen Brunson just kind of talked about as well. 6% ownership for him. I'm getting him at about 9. Again, going against Boston here. The defense probably tougher for Brunson than it is for Cat. But Brunson has a 32% usage rate on the year. Good assist rate, putting up 1.23 fantasy points a minute as well. I think Brunson an okay play. Really, the Knicks don't look fantastic in my data. But obviously, competitive game versus Boston. They are only a 1.5 point favorite on the road. So that's the kind of spot where it does seem like Towns and Brunson could hit a ceiling. And certainly the ownership is not there for them because the game environment is not fantastic. Julius Randle, 28% for the field. I'm getting him at 19. In soft matchup versus the Pelicans, he looks okay. But really, I don't have an issue if I were with the field on Randle, but coming a little bit low, despite my projection being dead even with Stokastics. And Jimmy Butler, again, another 11 p.m. slate here. No Steph Curry. He looks a little bit better than he normally would. But, Jimmy Butler, price for the situation at this point. So you're not really getting any discount on it. Let's sort by value here. Let's see what we got. And guys, real fast, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you get any value in this video. Again, I show up and do this work here Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. every day as best I can, mostly because I'm doing this myself to gamble on these slates every day. But also for you guys out there, I'm just trying to add value here, showing you how my data looks. Feel free to play whatever you want, follow whatever you want. I'm just going to tell you what the process looks like that's worked best for me. It's helped me win a lot of money doing this, and that makes me feel competitive night after night. But ultimately, default to the market data. Look at Stokastic stuff if you want, but I'm here for you guys, so please help me out. Hit that like button, subscribe. You guys have been great about it for this channel, and we're growing, so I got to keep making sure to let's stay disciplined. Let's stay locked in. Let's keep hitting the like button here because YouTube is giving me some love back finally, and I would like to keep that going. And of course, check out the Discord as well if you want to get access to my projections. You can also click this QR code if you want, but join the channel, one of the Squirt Squad tiers, or just support the show here by joining for $5 and you get to join the Discord. But if you want my projections and stuff I show you here on screen, you can go over to the YouTube channel here, join one of the Squirt Squad tiers, and get access to either my matchup screen or my exportable projections. So check that out. And of course, Stokastic, who you see all the data from here, 15% off. So check that out. Link down below. Promo code SPLASH gets you 15% off any weekly or monthly package. The cheap stuff, the expensive stuff, it's all 15% off. It does support the show when you join because half the money you pay to them comes back to me. So please do check them out. And again, you're in good hands with them. You don't have to use my data. You can just use their stuff, and you'll be aligned with the market about as well as you can be in a good way. So check that out. I hope Steven's okay with me dropping the QR code now. I'm going to pull it down, but I gave enough time for the QR code to join the membership here. All right, we got Marvin Bagley. So no Alex Sarr again. He has, I think it's another hip injury issue. A lot of hip stuff going around lately. But for Bagley, 89% ownership for the field. I'm getting him at 98. Yesterday, we quickly pull up the popcorn machine here. Washington played Milwaukee yesterday. If you didn't play the slate because you're too busy playing football, You missed out on Marvin Bagley playing 29 minutes as a starter yesterday. You also have Vucevic behind him playing just shy of 20 minutes. Vucevic did play a little bit with Bagley together in the first half. That it seems like they realized they didn't like it, pulled Bagley, then never went back to the two big man lineup. But basically, the big thing is that yesterday, winning lineups included Bagley and Vucevic together. Today, it feels like that's probably not going to be the case, especially after it just hit yesterday. People might overplay that. I would say, and I made the rule yesterday and it did not help me out, but I had a max one of Bagley and Vucevic rule. I boosted Vucevic in lineups where I didn't have Bagley. That was the way that I handled my lineups yesterday. For today, I would do the same thing because I think people will overplay Bagley and Tristan Vucevic together. But in reality, one of them will hit most likely because there's a lot of opportunity for both guys being priced 3,600, 3,200, starting center opportunity going against Philadelphia team that's not inspiring any fear if they have a gimpy Andre Drummond out there or a Dem Bona and then garbage behind that. Even more garbage, like Bona's not anything special either. Really for Washington, it's an important spot. Think you should play minimum one of these guys, but I would also say maximum one of these guys between Bagley and Vucevic. Shout out Tiffany here. Always appreciate her and her fiance here. Supports the channel. The only couple I know that would come to the channel. Came in first in a mini max. Shouts to that. The and 1 1/4. Your advice in the backups is solid here. So thank you for that. And glad to hear you're having success, Tiffany. That's what we're all about here. People giving some bankroll advice here. Yeah, take a week off. Yeah, look, if you need to get your head right, for sure. A lot of what I do is I center myself balanced on the idea of like playing with high volume and doing that with regularity. And that's part of why, playing with a more limited bankroll than even you can afford, I think is sometimes a better move. But yeah, definitely different strokes for different folks. Just try to find something that works for you and stick with it. Process wise, for the actual play and, gambling wise, I think is an important part. Isaiah Joe for our showdown slate doesn't really matter here, but he does look like a decent value. Getting more opportunity because the Thunder are shorthanded relatively. Tristan Vucevic here, 3,200. Field's going to play him at 43%. I really think it will be an error if the field plays this much Bagley and Vucevic. Right now, there's not better value on the slate. If any better value opens up, I think you really should prioritize getting away from that. But really, people will see that it hit yesterday. They'll be more confident playing these guys together. But in reality, they're splitting 48 minutes, and it is hard for these two guys to pay off when they're splitting that 48. The payoff is usually bigger. The tournament upside is bigger, and one of them takes, 5 extra minutes. The other guy gets closer to 18 or something. And that could be Vucevic or Bagley to back-to-back. And Bagley certainly is no stranger to getting hurt. But really think playing max one of these guys would be my move. The field will not be doing that. They'll be playing a lot of both. Neemias Queta. I did not expect him to be this played for me here. That is a salary for Showdown, yes. Neemias Queta, 15.5% ownership for the field. I'm getting him at 52. So Queta has been like in and out of the lineup lately for Boston. I don't love that. When he is playing, he's playing like 27, 28, 29 minutes. And he's playing pretty well. I realized when I was going through the numbers today, and it's kind of surprised to see Jaylen Brown's numbers coming up as much as they are because they haven't been on a main slate in a while. But Neemias Queta also averaging 1.1 fantasy points a minute, solid 19% rebound rate, basically taking all the rebounds on the team. For Neemias Queta here, I think he's a good play today. Should you be playing him over Bagley or Vucevic? No, you should be playing one of those guys as item number one. But I think Queta at 5,100 as a mid-tier play, I would love something better to open up. But without great value here, I do have Queta projected for 29.8 today. Stokastic has him for 27.7. So maybe a little bit high for Queta. It's possible that number comes down as the day goes on. But as of right now, Queta looks like a better play for me than I would have certainly have expected. And also, I didn't point out, Marvin Bagley's one in the thumbnail, in case you don't know Marvin Bagley's face here. But it is important to keep that in mind because it's important you guys know the thumbnail face every day. Yesterday was Mobley. He was terrible, but it didn't look enough like Mobley. So today, it looks like Marvin Bagley, but you might not know Marvin Bagley's face. Unless you're Luka Doncic, then you know his face. Tyrese Maxey looks like a top value to me, despite being the best projected guy in the slate. So Maxey and Jaylen Brown, 2 top values technically. That's why they'll make a lot of my lineups today, presumably. Definitely more than the 35% for Maxey I've been getting right now. But Maxey looking like mega chalk in Stokastic's first run of data, 75% ownership. Manuel Quickly, again, no RJ Barrett, helps out Ingram, helps out Quickly, helps out Barnes. They all look a little bit better as a result. Quickly, I've got at 39% of my lineups right now are my top 150. Fields at 20. My projection is also a little bit higher for Quickly, but I think they might have, let me see what Stokastic has real fast. You think, yeah, Stokastic gave a little bit more to Ingram, a little bit less than I did to Quickly, a little bit more in a Pirtle, and we're both dead even on Barnes. So I would favor Quickly today a little bit more, and I am doing that right now in my ownership. CJ McCollum. So we have a lot of Wizards missing already, potentially more missing if Keyshawn George is out. McCollum, I think, is going to become a more unfadeable play to me. But, missing Middleton, missing already Kispert, missing Sarr, again, more bodies potentially. We could be down for Washington. Does make McCollum look like a good usage option, if nothing else. He's averaged 28% usage with some of the guys that are already off the court, in particular Sarr, this year. So if you get Keyshawn George out, McCollum's probably going to have the run of the house to shoot as much as he wants. He's a vet on the back-to-back. That does come with some risk. McCollum, I'm getting a 37%, Fields at 22. Seems like a decent play to me here in a game that, Washington is a 13.5-point dog. So McCollum's shot doesn't hit. That might be the way they get blown out today, certainly. Mitchell Robinson, 7% ownership for me in my top 150. Fields at 4. Not a particularly exciting play, but at 3,500, he is a theoretical pivot to the Washington ownership. Certainly, if you play Mitchell Robinson with either Bagley or Vucevic, that will be not super owned. So you could do it. It doesn't look like a great value, though, because Mitchell Robinson's minutes are not that high. Great rebounder, good blocks guy, but not playing enough court time. Paul George, if he plays, it's like decent value as well. His minutes are still capped. Stokastic has him about 25 minutes today. But he's been producing well when he's been out there. I'd have him for 33.5 fantasy points today. Fields at 24% ownership. I'm getting 29. If there is better value that opens up, it'll look better. But as it is right now, Paul George, playable. And Jaden McDaniels also getting the benefit of that spot versus New Orleans today. Again, all the Timberwolves look a little bit better because of that matchup and a good team total for them from Vegas. That said, for McDaniels at 5,600, a little bit cheap for a guy who has played pretty well this year and always looks good in my projections. I have him at 29.2 today. Stokastic has him at 27.6, and that means I'm getting 31% ownership in my top 150. Fields at 18. Cam Whitmore, not a top value for me because he's not really guaranteed to play a lot of minutes. Whitmore is way down the chain. We'll go game by game in a minute here. So whenever you want to ask about a player and you don't see him on the screen, which I feel like happens a lot in the chat, just be patient. We're going to go game by game in a minute. You'll get to see everybody when we do that. Let's see here. Contributed to the rake, but thanks for the vibes. There we go. That's fair enough. Is McGowan's going to get another 30-minute shot? I would presume not. I don't know. But we're going to go game by game here. You guys always have people top mind. Somebody's like, Noah Pendo. What do you think? I'm like, what? Usually the guys that are going to be obvious are obvious is how it goes in NBA slate. So I appreciate you guys always digging deep here, but generally you don't have to dig that deep in NBA would be my example here. Middleton had played the last few games. That's true. Okay. Washington, 110.5 implied points. Philadelphia, 124 implied points. Keyshawn George, 33% in my top 150. Fields 7%. Keyshawn George plays. He looks good to me. That said, he's coming off an illness. Now a little bit of an injury, I guess. Not great stuff. Downgrade into Q-tag as well for Keyshawn George. Not a good thing to see in terms of the expectation for him to play. But if he does play better without Alex Sarr. So the Keyshawn George would be worth a good amount of exposure to me. And he's always one of those guys that does pop in my data. And he's still shooting well on the year. Definitely usage has come down. Assist rates come down a little bit as guys like McCollum, Middleton, really those two in particular, I feel like asserting their usage a little bit more lately. That's not been great for Keyshawn George. McCollum, 37% ownership here. Fields at 22. Again, talked about him already. He looks pretty good. He'll definitely look a lot better if Keyshawn George is out. I imagine he'd be one of my highest owned plays of the day, if not industry-wide. Bilal Coulibaly, I think, needs Keyshawn George to be inactive to really look meaningfully better. $5,100 salary, though. Right now, I'm getting him at 18%. The Fields at 13. Cam Whitmore getting 11%. Fields at 10. 18.5 is minutes projection from Stokastic here. So really not enough minutes there for a guy who's putting up 0.95 fantasy points per minute. If there's a blowout or if Whitmore just gets hot, he can earn more minutes for sure. But really, we're still playing, the expectation of minutes is the most important part of things. And Whitmore not expected to get a big boost here with Middleton out. Marvin Bagley getting the biggest boost, as we talked about already, with no Alex Sarr today. Either Bagley or Vucevic is going to start. I would assume Bagley starts again. He played well yesterday. He'll be highly owned, and he should be. But any lineup without Bagley, I think you want to have Vucevic in, and I would really have a hard time playing both after they both hit yesterday, and it is hard for a starter and a backup to both hit, even though the price tags do allow it. A little more likelihood of that happening. Justin Champagny, excuse me. He looks good here at 11% ownership. Fields at 8.5 would look a lot better if Keyshawn George is out because the minutes expectation gets a little bit better. But he's one of those guys that whenever there's a wizard missing, you get more minutes flowing his way. Does a little bit of everything, but isn't great at anything in particular. Is not great at shooting. Think that for Vukcevic here and Champagny, these guys, to me, probably not priority plays. But if we get Keyshawn George out, they're both going to look better and probably come up a little bit more. Even though I will be, I think, pretty steadfast in trying to not play Bagley and Vukcevic together today. I just don't think it's going to work back to back. Philadelphia, 124 implied points here. We got Tyrese Maxey as the mega chalk. I think that ownership number comes down a little bit, but he's only going to look better if you get Grimes and Paul George, let alone both out. Drummond, I suppose, same thing as well. Drummond right now in the data set, splitting minutes with Adem Bona. If Drummond is out, Bona probably gets a few more minutes, and Barlow, I think, would get an increase as well. Might be somebody else they dust off down the rotation, but it probably doesn't matter that much. But really the big thing to watch out for is Paul George and Grimes being in or out. If they're in, they are certainly pivots that you can get some leverage theoretically on Tyrese Maxey. If Grimes and George are out, Maxey just looks amazing. Edgecombe will look playable for sure. McCain will look closer to playable, even though he's been terrible this year at 46% true shooting and 0.7 fantasy points per minute. But he really hasn't gotten the usage at all either. So he's like Jared McCain is in no man's land. He's one of the guys that getting hurt last year might have cost him his entire career because he had run to the castle last year with all the guys hurt. Then we saw Grimes play well. That would probably be McCain's role if he had stayed healthy. And now he is buried behind guys that look legit. And he looks like a fucking little kid out there. You compare him to Edgecombe, and it's I see where they're not playing McCain that much, but at a certain point, they would have to play him if Grimes and Paul George can't go. CJ and Keyshawn George negatively correlate with each other. Theoretically, yeah, but there's usage to go around. When you don't have Sar in, there's enough opportunity that flows around. Bagley doesn't take everything that Sar does away. So yeah, they both can hit. The total's good enough. Yeah, I wouldn't say max one between any two high usage guys on the same team, really. Portland. I mean, last week I finished top 10 with Luka and Austin Reeves in a lineup with LeBron, and playing that game as well. Two high usage guys can hit together for sure. And, especially to get less and less, key rotational guys in, makes it easier for them to hit together potentially. Portland, 112.5 implied points. So you're not thinking the wrong way though, for what it's worth. Because projections basically, if one guy falls short of his median outcome, it's a higher likelihood that another guy gain more in his, but they both can just beat both their projections out and other guys around them don't get there, or they get there and the guy that's missing fills in. Sorry, boring data talk, but I feel like I want to try to give a somewhat complete answer to that. Portland, 112.5 implied points here. Toronto, 118 implied. Again, Avdia had massive upside versus OKC. Versus Toronto, it's not. Honestly, Toronto's playing better across the board. They're getting headlines for winning a lot of games, but really they're playing well as a team. They're playing better defense than I would think as well, given they have Brandon Ingram on the team. And, and quickly too, not a great defender at this point either. But really for Portland, I think Avdia, nice tournament play at 10% ownership if that holds. Jeremy Grant, nice tournament play at 11% ownership if that holds. Shaden Sharp is still playing 25 minutes off the bench. He can fill it up off the bench if he gets hot. And, he's due to shoot better at 53% true shooting on the year. League average being a little bit above 58. Klingon being out would matter as well, because then you would get a value start from, I think, Duop Breath, but I suppose it could be Yang Hansen / Hansen Yang. Could also be Robert Williams if they want to give him more minutes. I'm not sure. He might still play the bench minutes no matter what. But definitely something could pop up here if Klingon is out. As it is, Avdia looks good, or, a nice tournament play, let's say. Grant looks like a nice tournament play, but definitely less priority tournament plays than some of the other pay-up options. Toronto on their side, you're getting ownership for pretty much everybody because having no RJ Barrett in. Scotty Barnes, Fields at 16, I'm at 10. Brandon Ingram, Fields at 26, I'm getting a little bit more. Ingram is the biggest usage winner with RJ Barrett off the court, but quickly is a little bit cheaper, so that's part of why I'm getting him at 39%, Fields at 20. Really, you want to make the case for any Toronto Raptor, they're all better plays than they normally would be because RJ Barrett's not in. Just, again, a high usage guy comes out, usage has to go somewhere. It's probably not going to go to Jacoby Walter or, Murray Boyles. Besides that, a lot of ownership for Jacoby Walter here. I am not there. He doesn't really get enough of a rate boost with Barrett off this year. I suppose I can give him a little bit more. He should start, I guess. Doesn't mean he's going to play 27 minutes, but I could see why he's getting 24% ownership. I think there's better value out there. I only have him projected for 16.4 fantasy points today. But certainly if these guys were to fail, I guess Jacoby Walter might get more shots up. There's just no indication in his rates so far this year that he wants to shoot or that he's, going to be allowed to shoot with a lot of guys on the team that are much better than him. Jacoby Walter is one of those guys where it's like, oh, all the starters were sitting. Great. Barnes, Ingram, Quickly, and Barrett are all out. That's when you play Jacoby Walter. He's not doing much of anything right now, and I don't know why you'd want to play him at 25% ownership. New York, 116.5 implied points here. Nothing looks fantastic, but should be a competitive game versus Boston, so certainly don't mind that conceptually. Towns I'm low on, but the field's only playing him at 6%. I think he's a viable, tournament spike option for sure. Jalen Brunson, I'm a little bit above the field on, but still under 10% ownership. Josh Hart, at 15, fields at 5. He's been the big minute winner from having OG Anunoby out, gets back to a real starter run. And he's contributing better in every category as a result. Just kind of needs to be out in the court more for the rebounds and assists to flow his way and his shots occasionally. Mikal Bridges, I've not gotten to, I think even once since Anunoby's been out. His price tag is coming down. He certainly can be useful, but the other guys who are better are unowned, so I don't know why I'd want to play Mikal Bridges today. Usually, to me, the reason you play Mikal Bridges is like, oh, the chalk Knicks are overowned. Maybe Mikal Bridges has an outlier day. But, the price tag's coming down for him, so if you like him, go nuts. Mitchell Robinson is a pivot to the Washington Centers. Theoretically, I suppose makes some sense, but he's so much more lowly projected. That's about it for the Knicks. Shout out Isaac joining here. Glad to see some new names in the channel. Check out the YouTube community tab here on the channel if you want to see how to get access to my data. I don't know which tier you joined, but Discord as well. Same thing. Check it out. Make it very easy to join here. Description too will make you give you the right pathway to get where you need to go. Thank you for the support. Always goes a long way for me here. Boston 115 implied points. We got Jaylen Brown at 47%, Fields at 25. For me, I like Jaylen Brown a good amount today. Think that he is, to me, theoretically your most live pivots, Tyrese Maxey. That said, if you do get more Sixers out, like Maxey just will be on his own tier, and then Jaylen Brown will be part of the tier beneath it. Derek White, 22% sim ownership for me. Fields at 20. Not a big stand there, but certainly if we saw Jaylen Brown come down, it would look a little bit better for Derek White. We got Neemias Queta coming up a lot for me. Peyton Pritchard coming up a little bit more than the field. I'm not crazy about these plays besides Jaylen Brown. I think he's a strong play. The other guys I don't mind. Like the Queta ownership really took me for a loop because I did not know I had him that much better projected than Stokastic. And I was like, oh, I guess the 2.1 fantasy points matters. I think Queta's okay. I'm just worried about the coming in out of lineups being banged up and stuff like that. But I think he's an okay play. I don't know. He's like a half my lineup play. Usually Papa Coleman. Okay, got it. But I appreciate your support normally, and now I got your real name. I won't dox you. I won't spoil it for you. Only if you're a Coke dealer in the Altoona, Pennsylvania area. That's when I do that. Josh Hart's been pretty good lately. That's true. I agree. And you can do things like use the emojis. That's right. And there are even new emojis in there. We got the ew one. Ew. That actually, Tiffany, that's a very girl gif. I love it. And then we got this one too. Brand new gifs. Wow, other channels make improvements like better quality, new hosts. I give you 2 gifts. I give you 2 gifts. All right, the rest of Boston doesn't really matter here. But I'm glad I got to click the gifts. So thank you for giving me an excuse. Minnesota, 122.5 implied points. New Orleans, 110 implied points. Minnesota looking pretty good because they have the matchup with New Orleans here. Not a pace up, but a really shitty defense going against them. That said, it's a lot of ownership to me for Anthony Edwards, for Julius Randle. You want to be with the field. That looks okay. But being under the field seems like the easier thing to do with my data right now. Rudy Gobert, I have him as a 5x value, which doesn't happen that often. Does seem like the kind of guy that could clean up against New Orleans with how inopportune of a team they are overall. It's not a team that makes their shots necessarily sometimes. That said, Rudy Gobert not coming up for me or the field. And it's one of those slates where people might pay down enough at center. You play a guy like Gobert and he just has a rock solid 40-point day. That's a little bit of an outlier for him. That could be a way to win a tournament. I think, just in terms of how to view a slate. Naz Reid, 13% for me. Fields at 11. Price is down to a more reasonable price tag, but I feel like he's won enough tournaments lately that you're still kind of paying for that. Dante DiVincenzo, Fields at 13. I'm at 7. Not a big stand there. Jaden McDaniels always looks good in my data. $5,600 salary and small forward, always a tough position as well. He benefits from the matchup just as much as Edwards and Randall do, but certainly lower usage overall at 19% compared to Edwards at 33, Randall at 27, even Naz Reid at 22. Sucks because McDaniels was like gunning to start the year. He's not doing that anymore. New Orleans, we now have Q tags on Zion Williamson and Eve Missy. Somebody had asked before if Looney would start if Missy were out. I don't think he would. I think they would go Queen, Bay, Murphy, Fears, PV would probably be it based on what it's been historically. Could be McGowan's as well, I suppose. But right now, Zion Q tag means that nobody here looks that good. If you take him and Missy out of the data set, I think Queen will look playable. But Queen's expensive now. The minutes have been less secure with Zion and Missy and Looney in. No Carlo Makovich still, so that helps out a little bit. But Derek Queen, if you get Zion out, you get Missy out. I think that's where you play Derek Queen. Be willing to play him a good amount, 6,400. Trey Murphy is going to be in today. Seems a little expensive unless we get Zion in. I really think at this point you need you need to get Zion out to play anything here at the least. And if you get Zion and Missy out, things will look a little bit better. Might even look a lot better for New Orleans. But still a tough matchup versus Minnesota on paper. Memphis, still no Ja Morant, 113 implied points here. San Antonio, 118.5 implied points. Nothing really coming up meaningfully for me. Jaren Jackson, I'm at 2%, Fields at 8. Zach Edey's been bumping in my numbers a little bit more lately now that he's getting more minutes. Stokastic has him for 29.3 minutes today. But not a super exciting play, I think, is Zach Edey at 7,200. Vince Williams Jr. playing technically point guard. Now he's priced a little bit cheaper than where he was going to after a few good games. But really not as fun of a play as he was when we first got the Ja Morant out and he was really cheap. I feel like Memphis has okay tournament options here, but it's not a great matchup on paper. Slight pace down. Nothing really stands out too much. For San Antonio, 118.5 implied points here. De'Aaron Fox, one of your lower owned pay up options. If you want to get there, it is a slight pace up here and a below league average defense. Devin Vassell, not really popping up for me, but he does theoretically have more usage to go around. He does spike pretty meaningfully when you take Wemby and Stephon Castle off the court. Both guys not playing. Champagny is getting meaningful minutes, but doesn't do a whole lot, just like his brother. And he's pretty expensive at 5,700. Keldon Johnson, kind of similar things, but he does a little bit more fantasy-wise. Less secure minutes, I would guess. Harrison Barnes making some lineups for me at 16%. Fields at 11. San Antonio just has not popped me very much, despite missing two really high usage guys with Wemby and Castle not being in. Fox has paid off occasionally. He's also had kind of mid games occasionally. So I'm not opposed to getting anything from San Antonio. But projection wise, Vassell looks the closest to being really playable. Barnes at 5K playable, but do you really want to play? I never want to play Harrison Barnes. So that's sort of the issue here. But certainly Fox can put up one of those random 60-point games here. The opportunity's there for him. He's not reliably doing it game to game. OKC here for the showdown slate here. You can see the numbers if you want to look at them. I don't really need to talk about it. But no, Hartenstein does open up some more center minutes theoretically for Jalen Williams / Holmgren to do something with. Golden State on their side, no Steph Curry, but Kuminga's minutes limited right now. Butler gains the most. Pajemski in play. Draymond in play. Moody in play. Doesn't look like a fun showdown slate, to be real, but that's there for you. Let's go to Stokastic next. Let's see what they have without my interference. So we'll see what Stokastic data has. And while we do that, guys, you guys know the deal here. So if you want to see what Stokastic has for yourself, click the link down below. Use the promo code SPLASH. Gets you 15% off. It's the best deal they have going, especially if you want to get a monthly package right now. A monthly, weekly, again, cheap stuff, expensive stuff. It's all 15% off with that promo code SPLASH. So take advantage of it. Half the money you pay to Stokastic comes back to me. So you get something out of it. You're supporting the show. Really trying to keep the momentum going on the channel as best I can. So please do check out Stokastic and use that promo code SPLASH. Link down below. And make sure to hit that like button and subscribe here. I'm here Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. doing this exact process every day, taking you guys through my data, showing you what what things look like without my data as well, so you have a good read on what one of the industry leaders out there, friends over at Stokastic, will have for you. But really, the goal here is to get you ready to make your own decisions in the NBA. You can tail everything I'm doing here if you want, but ultimately, develop a process like I have my own, and hopefully you'll be in better shape for what you're doing in NBA-wise daily or whenever you play. And again, join the channel as well. Link down below. Promo code SPLASH. Oh, not promo code SPLASH. There's no promo code. But if you join the channel here, you get access to the Discord for $5, or you get access to my data for one of these Squirt Squad tiers. But do join one if you can. Supports the show. And my data is pretty cool. I think it does a good job. And if nothing else, a little bit different from industry projections, which does help, but not far enough off where you're going to end up with like lots of dumb shit plays usually, which is sort of the goal. All right, your top ROI lineups according to Stokastic data, with, again, no interference from me here. This is just their projections, their sim of 10,000 lineups here. We got Quentin Grimes, Brandon Ingram, Bilal Coulibaly, Dominic Barlow, Marvin Bagley, Anthony Edwards, Jeremy Grant, Jakob Poeltl. So everybody's healthy. Looks good to go here. You're getting Grimes in, not Maxey, so getting some theoretical leverage there. I guess Barlow, same thing. But you are playing Bagley. You're not playing Vucevic, so some things to note up top. Your number 2 lineup does include Maxey. Maxey, Quentin Grimes, Bilal Coulibaly, Dominic Barlow, Tristan Vucevic, Emmanuel Quickley, Karl-Anthony Towns, Marvin Bagley. So Bagley makes this lineup as well. Maxey gets in this one. This is one of the dumbest questions I've ever heard. Who determines if a player is a must-play? YouTube? It's just the title of a video. But like theoretically, you're learning Stokastic's must-plays. You're looking at my projections, seeing what those are. But ultimately, the real must-play is making decisions for yourself. That's free will is the must-play of the day. Oh boy, love when the channel grows, guys. There are going to be chats that make me want to shoot myself. Just be with me on that. Understand when we see it happen. Number 3 ROI lineup: Tyrese Maxey, Brandon Ingram, perhaps some must plays in these lineups. Keldon Johnson, Dominic Barlow again. Barlow making it a lot in these top lineups. 4 out of the top 5 have Barlow. Dominic Barlow, Tristan Vucevic, CJ McCollum, Zion Williamson, and Bagley. So this one does have Vucevic and Bagley. Doesn't seem super unique. I guess maybe Zion makes it more unique. Number 4, Quentin Grimes, Brandon Ingram, Jaylen Brown, Dominic Barlow, Tristan Vucevic again. Derek White makes this one. Mikal Bridges makes this one. And Marvin Bagley again. So another Vucevic and Bagley double here. Does seem like 4 out of the top 5 have Bagley and Vucevic. So I could be wrong about going max 1, at least based on the sim here. Number 5, Jared McCain. Anthony Edwards, Bilal Coulibaly, Scotty Barnes, Marvin Bagley, Derek White, Julius Randle, Tristan Vucevic. All right, so look, I think these certainly are telling a tale here. Playing both Washington bigs seemed to be a popular decision for the sim here. I really would have thought the sim would move us away from doubling up. But look, I'll say that whenever something hits the day before last, I always want to look at lend an extra quizzical eye to it. Really think that for just looking at it again, like centers together don't usually hit that often. And all it takes is one of them getting a few more minutes. But they're cheap. Like they're very cheap. They're not priced for the situation 100%. It's just, I don't love that you're getting it fed in the sim and people will see it when they want to hand build. If they're what they saw yesterday, like it's a little bit too easy. But like all it takes is one center hitting enough of the ceiling and then you didn't need the other one. And that's like very easy to happen. Dominic Barlow, though, your highest ROI player on the slate. Stokastic data loving him right now at 4,800. You're playing Washington, fast-paced team who does give up a lot of peripherals. Kind of makes sense that a guy like Barlow could hit a ceiling here. Bilal Coulibaly is a negative ROI, but it doesn't matter. He's still your number 2 guy. We mostly care about the directional accuracy of the ROI here in a sim. Coulibaly at number 2, and certainly that would look even better if you got Keyshawn George out. Karl-Anthony Towns at number 3, Cam Whitmore at number 4, Quentin Grimes at number 5, and just a little bit behind is Derek White, Jakob Poeltl, Tristan Vucevic, and Jared McCain. Overall exposures here, getting Bagley in 93% of lineups, Fields at 89, so not quite a lock button play as Bagley, but he is still in the vast majority of lineups and more than the Fields' expected ownership. Dominic Barlow, 57% exposure, Fields at 13. A really big stand on Barlow here. Not a surprise given that Stokastic data does think he's one of the best ROI players on the slate. Tristan Vucevic, 54% exposure, Fields at 45. So a lot of overlapping lineups with Bagley and Vucevic here. They're going to be owned at 54 and 93. Would certainly think that you're going to have some lineups where it is max 1. But the sim is really saying just play both bigs right now. Tyrese Maxey, 51% exposure, Fields 74. So sim is giving you less of the field, an appreciable amount here. Again, Maxey, I think, is good chalk, but it's 75% owned. Definitely not great chalk. This has to be a troll account, but it's one of the most difficult sports to win at. If you're coming in day 1 and saying things like this, and again, I'm pretty sure this is a troll account, you're not going to do that. It's going to be really hard to do. I wish you the best, Jack. Dedicate your time and effort into things, but I'm pretty sure you're just trolling. So good luck to you. Derek White, 38% exposure, Fields at 18. 2x the field here on Derek White. Looks good, I think, on a slate where you will have decent ownership going to Jaylen Brown. But Derek White definitely becoming a number 2 option behind Jaylen Brown as opposed to somebody that's like competing for similar amounts of usage. And that's been the case really developing over the last few weeks with Jaylen Brown taking a really meaningful share of the top owned players. All right, highest leverage plays in Stokastic data right now. And again, there might be injuries that change this meaningfully. Keep that in mind. Recording the video right now at 2:45 p.m. on the East Coast. We got Dominic Barlow, 44% leverage above the field here. So a really meaningful value play in these Stokastic sims. I would guess that the salary plus his projection allow you to get a lot of the best players that thinks rotating around him. So Barlow, a core play in Stokastic data as of right now. Derek White, 20% leverage, big stand on him. He's in more than a third of the lineups. CJ McCollum with 12% leverage right now. That'll only look better if you get Keyshawn George out. Anthony Edwards, 10% leverage on him. Soft matchup versus the Pelicans. It makes sense. They want you to play him in about a third of the field of the top 150 lineups. And Quentin Grimes, 10% leverage here, 25% exposure. Fields at 16. So Grimes looking like a good play if he does play in Stokastic data. Negative leverage plays here. We got Tyrese Maxey, negative 23% leverage. So Maxey, your biggest fade here, even though he is still in more than half the lineups. Again, he looks like a good play. Doesn't look like an unfadeable play unless we get, like Paul George and plus one more out. I think that's when Maxey's like, you probably just play him no matter what the ownership looks like. Jacoby Walter, Paul George under the field on both these guys as well. A negative 16% leverage on George, negative 12% on Jacoby Walter. Peyton Pritchard, a real big fade on him. He's not getting played at all, basically, in Stokastic's top 150. Same thing for Justin Champagnie, who does seem like a reasonable price tag for me. I would rather fade the other Champagnie, but I think Champagnie, Keyshawn George being out would change this math around pretty meaningfully. And we'll do a single lineup sim here because we have enough time and the data has not changed too much. So let's get this part in next. One more quick ask, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe. Well, actually, not one more, but I will give you, there's going to be at least one more. But hit the like button, subscribe. Again, ultimately, I'm just one guy here showing you my gambling as best I can. Take whatever I'm saying, let it go in one ear. Don't let it go right out the other. But do whatever you want to do. Ultimately, that's what gambling is. You should have fun doing this. You should try to be about it, approach it intelligently as best you can. But ultimately, whether you're watching me, other channels out there, whether they're great creators or shitty ones, listen, take it in, make your choices as best you can. And hopefully you'll do well for yourself. But I know it's a grind for a lot of people, and I know we're getting a lot of new people in, and that's that. And you get these troll accounts here. No, I will win, and you will not tell me I won't. Thanks, Jack. Jack, take a lap. I can just sense it. I can just sense the vibes are not going to be the right vibes for the channel, and that's okay. Some people just watch, then you come back into the gladiator dome here of chat. Max Center. That's not nice. That's not nice. Take out a mortgage. Put it all in the house. We got point guard. Who are we going to start with here? The sim doesn't love Maxey, so I don't have to go there with the first click if we don't want to. Just taking a look at one of my projection views here. The Quickly would be an option for me. McCollum would be an option for me. But let's just go Maxey for now. I might swap off of him. I think for now, we'll go with Maxey here. Shooting guard, Ingram, Keyshawn George for me. The sim will like Keyshawn George less, though. Let's play it safe and go Ingram here because we want to get a good ROI. I hate having to give the sim what it wants, but that is unfortunately the nature of the game. Thank you for watching. Thanks for putting out something after the midday injury reports. I feel like I've timed the videos really well at the 2 p.m. start time where you have just enough evergreen time. But I will be on the deeper dive as well at 5 p.m. today on Stokastic. So check that out if you want more from me as we get more stuff coming in. Small forward. I think it would be Jaylen Brown for you, but at this point we are spending a lot of salary. But I'm going to go Jaylen Brown. These are all some of my favorite plays based on the projections right now. So we'll try to work around it. Power forward, Randall, Paul George, Barlow. We know the sim loves Barlow, and my data likes Barlow as well. So let's go Barlow here. Going to play Bagley at center. We know we could save some money with that. We know the sim's not going to kill us for playing Vucevic, but I do want to see how Kata performs. So I'm going to put Kata in utility. 4,600 left for these last two spots. Let me just sort by value on my Excel here because it's going to make it easier for me to tell who I would want to get in. Guard and forward. I think it's McCollum. It'd be McCollum or Keyshawn George, but I don't think we could finish a lineup. Might not be able to finish a lineup with either of those. Yeah, 2,600 left. I got to go cheaper. Fuck. One guard, one forward, and I need him cheap. Jamal Shed, maybe. This is tough. I can see why people would play Jacoby Walter because he will fill forward for cheap. I don't like him in my data, but at this point, we just need to save some money. It leaves us 5,400 left. The negative is to either minus or plus the ownership expected here. It's not a negative number. Guard, Dylan Harper, McBride. This is an awful tier. God, none of these guys should be 5,100 or more. This is terrible. You're right. This is why the Sims are giving you both centers. Fuck. All right. You know what? Let's do that then. Let's go that way because I could actually play the guys I want. I know the Sim's not going to punish me for it. Let's put Vucevic in. Now I can get some McCollum. Then at forward, we have 4,500 left. We can play Clarkson, McGowan's, who projects terribly, by the way, for whoever asked about McGowan's before. He would need Zion to be out desperately. These are all terrible plays in this range. Holy shit. Okay. Is Keyshawn George playable at forward, or is he only guard? I think he's only guard, right? He's only guard. If I put in Keyshawn George, we get a little bit cheaper at forward. They can play Jordan Walsh, Hauser. None of these guys project over 20. This is an awful tier. Ugh. All right, we'll play Jordan Walsh, I guess, to see how the Sims. We got a large contest, 25% to first. I think I would need to swap off of one of the expensive guys here, Maxey or Jaylen Brown, I guess. At 7% ROI, I'm going to take it. We got Maxey, Ingram, Jaylen Brown, Dominic Barlow, Marvin Bagley, Keyshawn George, Jordan Walsh, Tristan Vucevic here. So both Washington bigs, which the Sim does really support. Any Whitmore. Whitmore was coming up a little bit in the Sim, but not a lot. He's only projected to play about 18 minutes. So it doesn't look that good. Where are Middleton's 31 minutes going to a bunch of different guys? Some Champagny, some Whitmore. Nobody. It's not like minutes don't just go to one guy. It's usually not the way to view it for NBA. This lineup tested positively. I'm throwing in the towel on it. I'll tell you what, I don't want to play Jordan Walsh today. Just for the record, I would swap around a little bit more real fast. What would it give me here with these last two spots? Here, complete the lineup with no randomness. Derek White. Oh, it gives you Cam Whitmore. Let's see if the ROI is a little bit better. Yeah, wow, it's a lot better. 55% ROI. So there you go. Whitmore coming up. Sim okay with that one. Swapping in Derek White and Whitmore with Maxey, Ingram, Jaylen Brown, Barlow, Bagley, and Tristan Vucevic. All right, guys, hope some better value opens up, but I'm going to give you guys my splash plays for the day, which you can guess probably by that lineup / what we talked about. Before I do that, one last run-through plug / ask for you guys. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. It is always a battle against the YouTube algorithm, but I think we're finally starting to win the war. The impressions are coming up here on the NBA and my NFL channel. So please keep hitting that like button. Please subscribing here. We're growing at a pretty good rate, and it's, you know, I'll do that as well as I can here, as graciously as I can. But please keep hitting the like button. Please subscribing here as I do the work Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. every day. Join Stokastic, 15% off, promo code SPLASH, all the cheap stuff, all the expensive stuff. You get 15% off. The only deal they have going right now, I think their gravy one ended yesterday, but even that was only weekly. You get a monthly package for 15% off, including their avatar ones, including their all sport ones, and you get half the money comes to me. So it's a real win-win for both of us here. You get good data and tools. I get money, and that's the goal here. So please hit the like button, please subscribe, and also check out Stokastic, link down below for that. And join the channel if you want to get access to my data, or just join as a supporter. $5 support the show. You get access to the Discord with that. If you want my projections, join one of the Squirt Squad tiers. Get either the matchup screen I show you here or exportable projections, no matter what site you're playing on, including Underdog and FanDuel. So check it out if you want to join here and support the show even more and get yourself some of my data. All right, splash plays for today. I think like Maxey's super chalk, but like he'll be in a lot of my lineups, so I would say he is one. Jaylen Brown, I think, is one for me right now. I think I'll be above the field on him no matter what. My projection is just going to be hard to see that getting lighter. Quickly, McCollum coming up for me, and that'll grow even more if Keyshawn George is out. But if Keyshawn George is in, him too. With the field on Ingram, but he is a highly owned play for me. Bagley / Vucevic. I still say max one of those guys. Like, I think that's what I'd prefer to do. Sim disagrees, though. Always feel free to default to the Sim. But that's how it goes, guys. My God, that's a lot of chats. And I appreciate you guys being here today. Again, hit that like button, subscribe before you go. Make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, especially if you're going through down swings. Be responsible with your bankroll. I always flash a dollar bill with my face on it too early. Even though it is money time here, be responsible with your bankroll, though. Really an important part of the process here. Keep yourself sane. Don't spend more than you're supposed to. Don't be somebody who plays your first day and thinks you're going to win like the troll accounts. Just be smart about your play if you can, guys. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow this channel on YouTube at Splash Play Bets, on Twitter at Splash Play Pod. And I will see you guys again today, 5 p.m. on Stokastic for the Deeper Dive show with my good friend, Josh Engelman. So see you guys there. And if not, enjoy your days. Good luck and bye-bye and see you soon.